I just started 3 new sites to add to my portfolio of websites. I have a lot of sites, and in this video I want to share with you which niches I'm going into, why I'm starting 3 new sites, and what strategies I'm using on these sites, and also why I'm going into these niches and not something else. But first, let me tell you why I'm starting 3 new sites right now. I find myself starting new sites all the time. And every time I start a new site, I think, why didn't I start this site a year ago? So this time I decided to start a couple of more sites than I usually would. And then I'm just gonna put some content on there and let them sit for a year. So that's basically my strategy for these sites for the next year, is to do almost nothing about it and just let them sit and age a little bit. So when I want to pick up and start a new site next year, I can take one of these sites and continue working on something that already has a little age, already had content on it, already has some authority in Google. So this is a strategy I've been thinking about many times, and I think it's a clever way to go about it. But now let's talk about the first niche and the first site. It's about gardening and literally everything outside the house. So the domain name would allow me to go into anything that's outside the house, around the garden, the patio, everything out there. So this is a niche I have chosen because it's super broad and there are so many products and stuff you can talk about. And it's also something that I find myself being more and more interested in because we recently bought a house. There's a pool and there's stuff that I need to learn. I know absolutely nothing about how to run and how to have a pool. I'm about to install some heating around it, and there's just so many things that I want to learn about. So I might write some of that content myself down the line. So the first thing I look for when I'm going into a new niche is the scope, like how far can I take it? I want to be able to grow this site for a very long time, for many years, and take it to at least many hundred articles. So that's the first site, and the second site is another one. That's because I'm planning to sell one of my biggest sites, and I'm very excited about that. It'll be my first major exit with a site that I'm going to sell, and it will definitely make more than $1 million. So it's very exciting for me and Maria and our little family here to be able to do that and try something like that. And I hope it will spawn a lot of very interesting videos. I'm hoping to sell to someone who will allow me to follow the site after the takeover and see what they do with it, because it'll probably be to a huge publishing company. Somebody with a huge team, like way bigger than mine, like hundreds of people, and a whole dedicated SEO team and writing team and editing team and all these things. So it'll be very exciting to see what they do with the site, how they want to take this site from the current revenue and then double it over time, because of course that's their strategy. When you buy a site like that, you gotta have like a huge plan and a huge team that can just go in and take over. So I've talked with one company in particular, and they have their whole setup around ads. So they don't use Stoic or AdFry or anything like that. They have more than 1 billion page views per month across their own portfolio of sites. So they sort of run directly with brands, and they're sort of their own ad network, you can say. So I think that'll be very interesting. And of course I'll share everything that I learned with you guys. And since I'm planning on doing that in the fall, maybe for this site, fall, winter, around that time, I wanted to start a new site within that niche. And sometimes if you want to sell a site, you're not allowed to do that. But with this company here that I might sell to, they are absolutely okay with this, because they know that it takes a long time to build something like this. And they don't care if I build another site, they'll just be happy to purchase that as well. That's what we've talked about so far. So I'm hoping to learn a lot from that. And also, since I'll sort of start this new site running alongside the other site while I still have it, I'll just start publishing some of that content to that other site. So it'll be very similar. It'll just be, you can say, another site starting completely from scratch in a niche that I already know very well. So that's the second site, and I'm especially excited about that one because I'll get to start over on a niche that I have a lot of experience with. So before we continue to talk about that third site that I just started, I want to talk with you a little bit about how to choose a good niche and how to figure out when you're onto something and when you should probably stay away and look for something else. And I would say the most important thing is that you have some passion around it. When you have passion, it doesn't matter that much whether it's the perfect niche or if it's something where you can really make a high dollar amount per 1,000 page views, because think of this like your future dream job. That's really what we are creating here. What do you want to work with 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road? That's what's most important, because the money will come, and it doesn't matter that much if you need 6 more months to get to the threshold that you need in order to quit your job or whatever your goal is here. That will happen when you just stick to it. So there are some niches to stay away from, of course, and you can watch this very old video that's a little embarrassing because I was so bad at YouTube when I filmed it. But look at that if you want to know what YMYL is. But when you got that covered and you know that you are operating within a niche that you could actually rank with for a new site, when you get that down, I would think less about how much money you can make per 1,000 page views and more about if this is something where you want to write and edit hundreds of articles. Because that's probably what it takes till you get to the level where you can outsource most of the process. The sites that I see the most success with on my own portfolio of sites are definitely ones where I'm just a little bit invested personally. So for example, the site that I share with you guys, Go Downsize, I think it's so much fun because we do live out of a camper for many months of the year, and this summer will be the same thing. And I also enjoy going on a boat once in a while. I just cannot bring Maria because she gets seasick just from looking at a boat. But so the whole boating category is less of a passion of mine. But I would say the tiny house thing, it's born out of Maria's passion for space optimizing, and she studied architecture and did some drawings around interior design for hotels and boats and stuff. And I'm very much into RVing and just living out of a camper and that whole lifestyle. So I'm very much invested in that, and you'll see all the categories is something that I like. Also about sustainable living, how to leave a smaller footprint in the world, and so such things that I find interesting. And some of the other sites like Sewing Machine Talk, another site that you guys have seen me build, I'm very much not invested in it. And Maria does do some sewing, but she's not really involved that much in the building of the sites. She's more just helping me behind stage, you can say, and helping me with the strategies and to get structured, because I'm very cutting in my brain and I started way too many things, and she helped me structure things. So she's a huge help in the company, but she wouldn't sit down and write about sewing. That's just not her passion. She's much more into video than writing. So think about what you want to write about and what you want to edit and get involved with, and what would you want to be associated with. I mean, if you just live for playing golf or tennis or something like that, even though it's very competitive, go for it, I would say, and just keep digging after these underserved topics and spend days looking for these first articles that you can write on that nobody else wrote already. That's definitely my first and best advice I have that I can give to you when you're scouting for new niches. The third site is also in the house niche, you can say. It's more for the indoor projects around the house, and that's again because we just purchased the house recently and everything in here is new. And not in this room here. This room here is gonna get torn down actually pretty soon. In a month or two, the whole basement here will be completely made into a new studio, and so I'll probably have some nicer backgrounds for you guys pretty soon. In 2-3 months, this basement here should be completely remodeled, and I'm very excited about that. But there will be so many things that I think I can contribute with on the site, and it'll be interesting for me to work with writers around some of these projects. So there's these 3 sites that I'm starting, and as I said, I'm just gonna put some content on it and watch it grow over the next year and see where it goes. And then after a year, I can come back to these sites and see where is the best potential. Hopefully with these first 10 to 15 articles, I'll see around 10,000 page views. If I don't see that, then I at least know that maybe there's more competition than what I thought. And also I'll be able to smack some ads on these sites and see in what range the ad earnings will be. Will I make $20 per 1,000 page views, or will I make closer to $50 per 1,000 page views, or 5? And from this data, it'll be so much easier for me to see the potential of the site. And of course, I will only start with one product or one part of the niche. I'll not have that much data to go with, but I will have some initial data. So you might be wondering when it's a good time to start that second site of yours. And I would say if you just started your first site, I wouldn't start the second site right away. Unless you have the possibility to outsource and you already have a team of writers and such. But if you're working on it just yourself, or maybe just yourself and one writer, I would still wait till you see at least 50,000 page views per month, or maybe you cross the $1,000 mark of income per month. And I would say around that time, when you have 50,000 page views or $1,000 of income on your site, that will be a good time to consider starting a second site. And before that, I would just keep it as an idea and just make it something that you doodle about and something that you think about, so you know what type of site and what niche you want to go into at that point, if you find yourself constantly thinking about starting that second or third site. And the reason why I think you should start to see that level of success with the first site is because it's so easy to just jump from one project to the other. And I've seen a lot of students in my community and folks that I've worked with over the years who just start one site and the next one and the next one and the next one, and they never really take it to the level where they see some sort of success. And if you never really get to take home some money from any of your sites, but you just find yourself constantly looking for the best niche, or can I earn a little bit more money if I did this, if I went into this, or maybe I should try YouTube or whatever, I would say stick to that first site to see that level of success. I've built so many sites, and I'm at a place now where I can easily churn out 3 more sites. And it's always super interesting to start afresh and see what you can do now that you learn some new stuff. And I'm absolutely sure that your second site, after you have taken the first site to some success, that second site will just succeed much faster. There's just no doubt about it. It'll just be faster because you learn so much, and there's so many things that you want to do different now. And you know now how to do proper topic research, how to sort of validate a topic before you start writing on it, if there's enough search volume, and all these things that we need to learn from scratch with the first site. And you'll just make much more money with your site if you're able to write great content that keeps people on the page for longer. And also you'll be able to sort of get them to trust you more as they read through all your article, or most of it. So they'll be more likely to click on your affiliate links and earn you a good commission with the affiliate networks as well. So that goes very much hand in hand, and that's definitely the most important skill for you to learn this year. If you're new to this, you need to learn how to write great content that keeps people on the page. So you have to check out that video if you are still struggling with that. I hope my thought processes here are helpful. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you guys next time.